Let's do this. It is 6 p.m. on the West Coast. It is Hug Nation happy hour time. Yay! Thank you for being here. Whether it's live or archive, or if you're just tuning in vibrationally as you drive someplace, or maybe you're from the future and you stumbled into an archive of this and you're trying to figure out, well, I gave too much away. Hey, future person, keep leaving those tips under the walk. Okay, before we get too silly and wacky, it is happy hour after all. Let's get present. Sink into the one thing that is real, the one thing that is actually happening, the one place you can live and experience the world is in the present. But without practice, we get pulled into stories, pulled into a future what ifs, pulled into past regrets. We get pulled into stories. And as life is happening, we're not there. So let's practice being conscious about what we think about in the now, conscious about what we experience, where we place our focus. So in this moment, let's just receive. And if you have a thought pop in your head, or a story, or to-do, or a what if, or you should have, watch it, let it go. Bring your mind back into the experience of the now. Feel your body, hear the sounds, and just experience. There's a symphony of sensations happening in every moment. When we become aware of what's happening in the now, then we can choose to pull things into the now that bring us pleasure or inspiration and joy. Thank you, universe, for all of the gifts. Help us to appreciate our blessings. Fill us with appreciation, joy, and love so we may spread appreciation, joy, and love in the world. Amen. Welcome! It's so good to see you. Today is election day in the United States. So this could be the last broadcast. If things go poorly, my judgment, I may have to go into hiding, and the next broadcast will be in my native tongue of Swedish. That's not true. I did see if it was possible to gain a knowledge of Swedish by eating enough of those gummy fish. No such luck. I did feel sick after a while, and I haven't forgiven the Swiss since. This afternoon, today's topic is kind of reflecting on some things that have happened to me lately. The big one. Well, let me just take a few steps back. This weekend, I had an amazing experience. Well, actually, I'll start on Friday. Friday, I had a coaching appointment with a new client, and it went awesome. I felt inspired. They were inspired. I was like, this is going great. This is what I want to be doing. And then Saturday, I went to First Saturdays, which was awesome. And we had a huge crowd. Tons of volunteers, 60 volunteers, and that was just in San Diego. There was also a San Francisco event that happened, and then this is actually the flyer for the upcoming British Columbia Canadian First Saturdays that's going to be happening in Abbotsford next month. And so, I mean, this is going amazing, it's going amazing. And then I leave for Saturdays, take a shower, and go meet up with my beloved who has rented us a cabin in the Palomar Mountain. It's very secluded, really cute and cool, and trees everywhere. Next day, woke up, went on a hike. Beautiful. This is a picture I took. She was walking ahead of me on this incredible hike, and there's a creek, and it was just magical, like a perfect. This is what life is about. This is what the journey is about. This is yes. And that night, Saturday night, as I am. Sunday night, after this hike, after this blissful experience and kisses, and my beloved is making me these vegan meals that are incredible. I just like, they've got a cassette player with Fleetwood Mac tapes. I mean, it's like heaven. And as I'm going to bed, I can't stop thinking about one more big thing in my life right now, which is this upcoming television show that I've been involved with. And it's in its beginning stages. It's still in it. It's got it's a plan for it. We've been trying to cast who the people that I'm going to work with on the show are going to be. But it's an awesome thing. It's dreams coming true. It's like, massive sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone kind of stuff. But my brain, my ego, got all whipped up and got all freaked out and got all scared about what if I can't perform, what if I get spiritual impotence and it's time for me to, the cameras are on and, okay, give some good advice, and I just can't get it up spiritually and intellectually and wittiness wise. And I just started just getting really stressed and worried, and it was good that I was aware that this voice was happening, but I still felt horrible. I felt and in contrast to so many good things happening, it was that much more absurd to me. Like, why can't I why am I so? And I realized that I have it's one of these personality things that I'm still working through. And normally I don't like to go back deep into history and say, oh, this happened to me, and that's why this happened, and this happened, and this, because you don't want to make the grooves of your story too deep, especially if they don't serve you. But I can look back at my history and my early childhood things and adolescent things and college things, and I can see that I have a real challenge with not making the most of an opportunity. When I was a little kid, I was given a test, and the test taker told my parents, oh man, he did incredible. This little kid can do anything he wants when he grows up. And my parents, they thought that was a wonderful thing to hear, of course. And they thought that would help with my self-esteem. And so they passed on to me, like, you're such a capable little kid. You've got great little brain in you, and you can do anything you want. And what I heard was, you are biologically capable of doing anything. You have all the advantages. You've got your parents buy you drawing materials, and you've got the brain for. You can do anything you want. So anything that you don't win at, anything that you're not the best at, it's because you didn't try hard enough. You let people down. You didn't take advantage of your situation. And so I started, anytime that I wasn't the best at something, I freaked out. Like to the point as when I was in 5th grade, they sent me to a special school for smart little kids. And I went from being a smart kid at school to being an average kid. And I couldn't handle being average, so I became a terrible student. And then got so screwed up in my identity and that I started making suicide threats. I feel so bad. I mean, I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be my parents dealing with this, 11-year-old kid just crying and wishing he was dead, and they even caught me with tying something around my neck one time. So this is not unfortunately I didn't work through it at the time. My parents decided that it was more important for me to live than it was for me to break through. So they took me out of the school, brought me back to the old school where I could be a big fish in a small pond. And I've never really gotten through that. I don't take on challenges that I can't win at for the most part. I mean, with the exception of grand challenges that there's no way I can win at. I love being an underdog. When I was in high school and I was in in wrestling, my favorite thing was when I would go against a guy that was way better than me, that was like state champ last year. I'm like, sweet. Then if I even avoid getting pinned for 10 seconds, everyone thinks that, hey, nice job. But if I would go against somebody that was, easy, no problem, this is easy, you just take him down, I'd be like, it's yours to lose. I was like, oh no! And I would psych myself out and often lose the easy ones because I was so in my head, unable to, that old pattern, that old fear of like not taking advantage of an opportunity. And so I felt that same stuff kicking in when the TEDx talk as we were leading up to that. There, I knew that it was a great opportunity, and I knew that I had to take advantage of it. And if you remember, I got all into these expectations of what I thought it needed to be, and it wasn't until I could let go of that and just have fun with it that everything worked out. And the exact same thing is happening with the TV show, as Life is Short was asking. Yeah, when my pattern that I need to start noticing sooner is that when things start going good, I start to look into the future, it gets exciting, and then people start asking me, hey, how's that going? And I'm telling this good story, and then I realize that I projected, and now it has to go good, or has to go what the image of what I said success was going to be, and then it's not fun. And then ironically, I'm out of the headspace and heart space that actually is what makes the positive things happen for me. I'm out of being present. And so that's what I had to do in this situation of like, use the old tools. Okay, what's my mantra? Be present, have integrity, align with love. Let go of the expectations and attachment to how I think it's supposed to go. Just do that. Okay. Another one that I used was the Byron Katie man sitting in chair. Here I was in bed with my gorgeous girlfriend in this incredible cabin. Everything is perfect, and yet my head is whipped up into the story. And so I had to use that, okay, what is real right now? All of these what ifs, all of these shouldas, all of these failures haven't happened. The only thing real is man lying in comfy bed with girlfriend. Wow, okay, easy. And it's so easier said than done to like, oh, well, just, stop having the expectations. And that's part of my practice, and I need to make it more frequent, because it's clear that it's so easy to get caught up. And it's the bummer is that it's success that does this to me, and it's the fear that's always worse. I can look back at times in my life, like, this is the third time I've been involved with making a TV pilot, and by many definitions, the previous ones were failures. But when I look back at them, I look back fondly. I don't remember any pain or suffering. Any suffering was in a projection of the what if failure. The actual failure is just the next thing that happens that either spares you from something or leads you to something else. Again, easier said than done. But that's another one of those reminders of like, duh, it's so trite, but the fear. Nothing to fear but the fear itself. The fear is the worst. Fear is the mind killer. Got to rewatch Dune a few times. Take on the sandworm. So, I was really looking forward to Hug Nation today, so I could have this opportunity and the earlier opportunity to connect and remind and use the vibration that we kind of cultivate together to recalibrate and bring myself back in and to the reminder of all the blessings. I mean, this was literally, this weekend I was literally, well, excuse me, not literally, I was figuratively in perhaps the largest avalanche of ice cream I've ever been in. Everything is going perfect. And here I am, like, with a snorkel, trying to find little bitty pieces, little flecks of poop. Oh, I found some. Yeah. It's like, wow, what an insidious thing the ego and the desire to make ourselves suffer and it can be when it's not checked. So that being said, I feel great right now. I feel excited. Tomorrow I'm going to LA to talk with a few potential people for the first episode. People meaning that would be like the ones that I would come with some challenge in their life, and I would meet with them and we'd do a little coaching and try to have some shifts and learn some stuff. It's tough because so much of the show is going to rely on me being entertaining during those the conversations. But you know what? If it's not entertaining, I'll go to the next thing. And along those lines, so another one of the part of the ice cream of the last week, last night I signed and faxed back my first ever professional speaking agreement. So I'm going to be doing a talk on gratitude in May of next year. I guess that's how it works when you're a professional. I'm like, May of next year? I had not envisioned anything beyond December 21st. Well, like I said, these good things, good things, good things. And part of the practice that we need to do, all of us, I think, is find a way to keep reminding ourselves of the things that are good when they're happening. Not just when they're happening, but routinely, ongoing. I have a WordPress blog that I just update whenever I get a good email or a good thing that happens, just so I have this kind of collection of positive stuff. Because evolution has made our brains not value good news all that much. There's nobody survives because they're dwelling on good stuff. People survive because they're dwelling on dangerous predators and then avoid them in the future, so they survive. So we have to work against our biology that evolution has created that puts extra value on stressful things. Another thing on that is that I was mentioning earlier there's a book called Getting Things Done, which is an organizational book. Okay, I admit I have not finished the book. A book called Getting Things Done and I didn't finish it? But you know what? I accept myself. And one of the things that I did glean from the book before I put it down was the idea that we need to make sure we don't have open loops. And an open loop would be like that thought, oh, I gotta find directions for the place I'm going tomorrow. I gotta find directions. I gotta make sure I do that. That's what I have right now. So what I need to do is either look up the frickin' directions or write a note saying, look up directions, and just keep that in this list of the to-do things. That way, if you know all the things that you need to think about are in one place, you just have to know one loop, which is check the list. Then you can stop keeping all those loops open. And you can do that. The book Getting Things Done has these elaborate, somewhat elaborate, systems for doing that with all your email, all your correspondence, all your bills, everything. So you have these folders that you check at sporadic intervals. Like, oh, this is once a month I need to look at this folder. Other than that, I don't ever have to look at this thing of these bills. You know, every day I need to check this. Every Tuesday and Thursday I make my phone calls. So I open this one up. My dad, great advice to me was never touch a piece of paper twice. So if you pick something up and it says, you know, check on this, don't go, okay, right, I gotta remember to do that. You do it. If you pick it up, you do it. I don't necessarily do that every time, but it's great advice, and it works together with this system of focusing. Being disciplined about your thoughts and about you don't want to let go of the things you need to do, but you also don't want to have so many of your juggling so many things that you need to remember that are stressful that you aren't open to all the joy that's available. So if you're not taking action, put it away, metaphorically and physically. Let's see. Do I look like I have a stash? I don't think so. Barry says, know this, we're going to love you and support you regardless how this show does. And it's going to be great, so I can relax. Thank you. And and it's funny because I guess in my mind there's these multiple groups of people in the world. I think that we're family here, I think that if I said tomorrow I quit, I'm not going to do the TV show, it's too much pressure, I think that some people would be like, what? But you still love me, I still love you. I do think there's this vague group of people that and maybe it's invented in me, that would love for me to fail. The more lately, as I've gotten a little bit more attention, those people have come out a little bit more. And it's mostly friends of friends that will pass on, oh, so-and-so said this about you. And I said, you just got to meet the guy. I'm like, they said what about me? Yikes. Then again, I look in the mirror and I go, oh, I guess if you never listened to anything I said, you just saw my pictures and my posts about me, you'd be like, dude, seriously, dude? Seriously? And I would say, seriously. Barry says, it's an exciting adventure at that. Now, and that is actually the answer that I've been giving people. I kind of regretted, well, not regretted. I thought about the story I've been telling people. Because, as you may have noticed, I'm a big believer in being conscious of how you tell your story. So if something good happens to me, I say, this is what's happening. I try not to say, well, this might happen, and yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. I say, this is going to do it. We're heading here. There's no penalty for being optimistic. But so the TV show, which is right now in development, it's putting along. You never know what's going to happen with it. But so many people have been asking, how's it going? Congratulations! And I'm like, that it's yours to lose kind of feeling comes into my head. And I'm like, I almost wish I could just like make it happen and then surprise people, as opposed to now when people keep asking into the future, I'll have it, oh yeah, that was, yeah, sorry about that, yeah. But the answer I've been giving people, when they go, how's it going? I'm like, you know what? It's a crazy adventure. I'm having fun. Which that allows me to pull back into the now, pull back into the present, have integrity, align with love, and let go of that attachment to success as other people envision it and as even my ego mind starts to envision it. If all I do through this process is learn a little bit more about the wacky world of television, great. If I actually get some footage of this pilot that I can use in a demo reel or as a Christmas card, oh, even better. If it actually becomes something that gets shopped around and maybe even gets aired someplace, well, you know me, I'd be okay with that too. So this whole chapter has been this really kind of refining look for me at one of my significant challenges in disciplining myself and my thoughts, of recognizing when I sabotage my because due to expectations, when my current joy is victim to this projecting and to this just story that I get caught up in. And so I'm looking at this now over the last like 5 days of being like, okay, this was a really powerful, introspective, psychoanalytic thing. Like, I think I saw and recognized and have dealt with this pretty good. Now, check with me tomorrow and see if I still think that way. But I want to make sure that I say thank you, because even when I'm physically by myself, I feel the connection of this Hug Nation community, of this kind of loving vision that we have for one another of our potential, and that seeing each other with our puppies, that kind of unsaid, I'll say it, agreement that we're doing our best to be our highest selves, to open ourselves up to love, to find our truth and to be that, and to encourage one another, to remind each other that that's what we are. And I feel that so deeply through this chat, through comments, through just the knowledge that there are people tuning in to this vibration. So I cannot express my gratitude deep enough. So I will simply say, thank you. And now let's have a hug. So wherever you are, grab yourselves by the shoulders. Oh, and maybe you got caught up in some attachments and some things you thought should have happened, or people should have done this or that should have happened, and it pulled you out of the joy of the now. Well, let's forgive ourselves. We're now here now. And we can remind ourselves at any moment to come back to this now. And as the world whirls and we get caught up in it, let's enjoy the game, enjoy the story, but keep practicing coming back. Keep practicing letting go of the story. Keep practicing putting the things that are unpleasant onto a list so that we can come back to the present moment and experience all that existence has to offer us. And let's remember that some of us are overtly on our team in this regard. And everyone else, well, we're connected to them on deep, deep ways that we may never fully appreciate or understand. But let's just Try to bow a little awe to this unknown bond that we have through all conscious beings and all life. Let's just feel a part of that oneness for a second, not understanding, not knowing, not realizing where we're headed or what we're doing or why, but just having some gratitude for being a part of it all. Let's take one breath together. In through the nose. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the Love Warriors, happy Hug Nation. I love you. I appreciate you. And I believe in you. Namaste.